Hi, my beautiful friends. Welcome to my channel, Tropical Empress in Spirit. My name is Amanda. Hello, how are y'all? I hope everyone's doing well today. Today I wanted to talk to y'all about a story of an experience I had some years back, and to also remember someone very special to me today. So I want to go back about 7 years ago. It was June 22nd. I was at home and my husband had just had an arrangement of purple roses delivered to the house to kind of cheer me up because the June 22nd is the day my daddy had died. So I put the roses in my formal living room, which just seemed fitting because my formal living room was purple, which is my favorite color. So having purple roses, it, went with the room. And it was always like my room, like what I would call my sacred space, where I just knew that room was different and it was a different energy. And so as I'm standing there looking at the roses and thinking about my daddy and, just going through and thinking about the good times and even, kind of wondering what exactly was I going to do that day to kind of honor his memory. Was I going to go have a big juicy steak because he loves steak, or was I going to go to the pool hall? I wasn't sure yet because it was a weekday and I knew my husband would have to work. So it would have been hard, just going out by myself, and then my baby brother would be working too. So I didn't know yet. So while I was sitting there, debating that and thinking about my daddy, I just had this bad feeling overcome me, and I keep getting a person's name in my head. George, George, George. And I'm just like, what? And George is short for Georgette. Georgette is one of my aunts, and everybody wanted her to call her George. So we always called her George. And I knew something was wrong. Something bad was getting ready to happen, but I couldn't tell you what it was. The only thing I could tell you at that point is I knew it was bad, and I also knew she wasn't going to be here much longer. And that terrified me. It terrified me, and it's like, you can't be serious, not again. Not only, is this the day my daddy died, but now you're going to take one of my aunts away from me too, just to put a double-edged sword in my heart. I'm just, all those array of emotions I'm going through. And so I decided I'd call my brother to get my aunt's number because I didn't have her number. And I just talked to her a week prior, and she was asking me to come by and see her, and I promised I would come by and see her soon. And I just hadn't made it over there to see her yet. So I tried calling my brother, couldn't reach him. And I couldn't remember my cousin's number either. I don't think I had it. I lost it when one of my phones had, got damaged. So I couldn't call anyone else to try and find out what was going on. And my aunt lives about 40 minutes away from where I was living at the time. So, it'd be I could make that drive, but I just felt like, no, I need to try and reach her first, So I kept trying to call my brother, no answer. And I'm just like, something's wrong. I know something's wrong, and I know she's not going to be here much longer, but what am I supposed to do here, And so I decided to get on social media, and I got on Facebook. Back then I had a Facebook account. I don't anymore, but I did back then. And I was connected to, some of my family members, on Facebook. And so I looked it up to see if I could find one of my cousin's numbers possibly be listed somewhere. And as soon as I opened up Facebook, there was a post. My aunt had just been in a bad car accident, and she was being airlifted to the hospital. And I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. I remember I even hauled up at, looking up at the sky and, yelling up at God and, heaven, like, why would you do this? Why would you give me this gift of being able to know the future before it happens, but not give me the opportunity to be able to change the outcome or save someone, you know, because that's been the constant thing throughout my life. When I've always known something is wrong, I'm helpless to change it. I'm helpless to do anything about it because I don't know what's going to happen as far as like how it's going to happen, when, you know, I might get a rough time estimate, but, you know, I don't have all the, you know, tiny details you would need in order to hopefully help prevent something from happening. So I was devastated and I was in tears, and, you know, and I called my husband and told him, you know, what was going on. And I just, I couldn't, you know, think straight. And I'm still supposed to be thinking about my daddy, but here it is. My aunt, you know, is now fighting for her life, being airlifted to the hospital. That just tells you how serious it was. And so I think it was later that night, I finally hear from my brother, and he got the news too. And I just asked him, so what's going on? You know, what the hell happened? Come find out. My aunt was out, you know, side at home walking the dog, and somebody in an SUV came and ran her over. And now she was like in a coma. And there was, you know, obviously, you know, bleeding in the brain, and they weren't sure the extent of the damage, or, you know, if she would come back, you know, but I already knew. I knew she wasn't coming back. But could I say that to my brother? No. Could I have told any of my other family members that? No. I wasn't gonna blow their hopes, because despite what I knew, I also believe in miracles. That miracles are still possible, even something like that. So I was gonna keep hope out, you know, and not, you know, just tell them, you know, she's gonna die and soon, so let it be. No, I wasn't gonna be cruel like that. And it was hard. And it was a struggle, because I know each day, you know, I would get updates on how she was doing, and, you know, what the doctor said and so forth. But it was, you know, I already knew that she wasn't coming back. And I think that's what hurt me more, because knowing I just talked to her the week before, and I think that was the other thing. I yelled up at God in heaven. It's like, she was fine a week ago when I talked to her, and she was healthy. There was nothing wrong with her medically, as far as I knew, that would cause her to die. You know, she was like in her late 40s, early 50s, I think. So it's like, what could have been the root cause? And here was one of those times where, you know, I've always said to others, it's like, when I've gotten a warning that someone's going to get hurt or possibly die, is, okay, maybe they have some kind of medical problem, but that doesn't mean that that's how they're going to die. They can easily go outside and get hit by a car. And here it is. My aunt, as far as I knew, she was medically, you know, healthy, but what did she do? She walked outside and got ran over by a car. You know, and it just, it had put a lot into perspective, you know, even though I'm devastated, I'm just, you know, going through it all and just not understanding why. Why would you give me this gift of being able to foresee the future, but then not be able to stop it or not be able to prevent it? You know, so to me, it feels like a blessing and a curse all at the same time. And so I waited for the my family to come to the decision to let her go. I just didn't know how long it was going to take, but unfortunately I already knew it was coming. And so it was 4th of July. I get called that they're going to let her go the next day, that they didn't want to do it on 4th of July because they didn't want to mark that holiday by her death, which that I understand. And she also loved 4th of July, so they wanted to wait until after. So they did. They pulled the plug July 5th. And, you know, it didn't matter whether it was 4th of July or the day after. You know, that holiday is still going to be marked forever by this tragedy. And I hated myself for not calling her more, for not going by sooner to see her. You know, you get so wrapped up in that survivor's guilt and the regrets of, well, could I have done something, or, I should have been there, or, I should have made time to go over there, and, but you're over here living your own life, and you just never think of something like that will happen. Yeah, we all know that possibility is there, but the chances of it, it's not like, every single one of us walking this world can honestly say, I don't think they could, that they know someone who got ran over by a car and died in a tragic car accident, But I could be wrong. But either way, it didn't change how it was going to turn out, If I had known a couple hours before, could I had stopped it? Could I had, been able to reach her? I mean, I'm sure, but at the same time, she still was going to do what she was going to do, because she still had to go outside and walk her dog. And, you just never think that someone's going to come into your neighborhood. And I guess the person was really exhausted. They had been working 2 jobs. And they pretty much, I guess, fell asleep behind the wheel. And that's why, she was run over walking her dog, doing something that's a routine. So it was a lot. And at the time, I was also I was battling chronic sinusitis, and it was bad. I was getting migraines all the time, and, the doctors were talking about possibly doing sinus surgery on me soon to clear out my sinus pockets and all this and that. So I had that going on too. So it was a lot. And so, couple years later, I know when the anniversary of death comes around. Of course, I always know by 4th of July. I mean, yeah, I think about it on the day my daddy died, but, that day's for him, so I try and block it out. But then when 4th of July is upon me, it's like, I already know, okay? So, I think about her. And so, one evening I was home, and I was in the bedroom. All the lights were out, and it was like it was after 10 o'clock that night. And the only thing that was on was a TV, and I was actually looking at the internet. So I had like my little iPad or my phone in my hand, looking at the internet, just looking at whatever. I couldn't even tell you what I was looking at, but I was looking at the internet, and out of the corner of my eye, to the left of me, I see something, and it was gold. So it's like, okay, that's a spirit orb. And, so I just kind of looked over at it, it appeared and disappeared. And then as I went back to looking at, at the internet, then I see something appear on my arm. And what I saw on my arm was a bunch of gold orbs, and it was an outline of a dragonfly. And I realized, what it was, and I was like, oh my gosh, because Georgette loved dragonflies. And it just so happened to be right around the anniversary of her death. So I said, George, and then another one appeared. And instead of it being on my arm, it appeared, to the left of me, and that one was white. And, and I knew then, yeah, this is my aunt coming by and checking up on me, and, to let me know she's okay. And, so I just told her, I'm sorry she's gone, and I miss her, and life's not the same without her. And, it was hard. But at least I was able to get that sign to let me know that she was still around. And I just wish I got that last visit with her. I think that's probably something that I'm always going to regret. Not rushing over there to her, whether, it was the morning or the week before, like, getting, yeah, I'm sick, and worrying about getting her or anyone else sick. I'm not trying to do that, but you just don't know. And so, your emotions and just the way you look at things, you know, it's mind-boggling. It's hard to wrap your head around and to make sense of it all, and just why these different things happen and why you get warned, or you know, how much in advance do you get warned, and so on. Because I've had so many times where I've had, you know, many hours or even several months in advance I've been warned. But at the end of the day, though, 9 times out of 10, I don't know what's going to happen. I only know roughly a time frame of possibly when it will happen, and who it possibly is going to be. So it's always a difficult challenge for me. And you know, and I'm always that person that wants to be like, no, that's not going to happen, you know, or am I going crazy? You know, it's like, this can't happen. You know, no, you can't let that person die, or there is always something like that. And there's only been a few times where I've been able to do something. But then, you know, back then, that's also dependent on me just knowing that feeling, and it's a different feel. And even someone, you know, like having my spirit guides let me know who it is, and giving me that chance to decide and change it. So I've been on both sides of it. That, you know, those couple of experiences I'm talking about, you know, I have to share another time. So, but today is about my aunt that I wanted to remember her by. And, you know, she's a beautiful, beautiful person. She was a blonde, blue-eyed bombshell. I mean, I remember my uncle had said when he first set his eyes on her, he knew he was in love, and he found the woman of his dreams because she's this beautiful, blonde, blue-eyed, and she had a big chest. So he was all about, you know, big busted women and naturally big chested. So he told my grandma that, and my grandma laughed, but, you know, she was a beautiful woman. You know, she was a knockout, and so much fun, you know, so much full of life, laughter, and, you know, just to be around her and hear her laugh, you know, she had that infectious laugh, and she always made you feel welcome. And then, you know, I remember one of the times I was over there for, I think it had something to do with the holidays, like around Thanksgiving or something, and she had got a cheesecake for dessert. And so she asked me if I wanted a piece, and I'm like, well, does it have strawberries? She's like, strawberries? No, it's New York style cheesecake. You don't put strawberries on cheesecake, you're gonna ruin it. And I just laughed. I'm like, oh my gosh, Auntie, okay, you know. Because she was originally from New York, so she made me laugh. I'm like, all right, Auntie, I'll eat it your way today. But I'd rather have strawberries. So, you know, it was plain cheesecake, and yeah, it was good, but, you know, I like strawberry cheesecake, so that's one of those times. And I figured I'd show y'all this, so, you know, give y'all a visual of the dragonfly orbs I saw that day. This is kind of like, then forgive my drawing. I can't draw worth the crap, so I never claimed to be an actual artist, but this is the one that I saw on my arm. It was an outline like this, and it was all gold. So it was just a bunch of little gold orbs that made an outline of a dragonfly. And then later was this, and it was all white, and it was like filled in. Instead of like it being an outline like that, it was more solid. So that's what I saw that night. So it was a nice visit and experience that I have, that I felt, you know, to keep track of a record, because I'm writing a book too, to share a lot of my experiences and So this is one of my journals where I can go through and keep track and go back and look at everything that I've had over the years and put that in the book. So, but yeah, that's been my experience, both dealing with precognition and also clairvoyance of seeing spirit orbs and just knowing that someone's there and knowing who it is. And so that's what I wanted to share with y'all today. I hope, it's heartfelt. I hope it brings you some warmth, and to know that your loved ones, even if you don't see them or hear their voice, that there's other ways they can always still make you know that they're around and that they're still watching over you and they're there beside you, and just reach out and talk to them. Let them know, you just need some solid sign that without a shadow of a doubt it's them. I know for me it's, dragonflies is an automatic. I knew who it was. But even like I said in, one of my other videos, it's looking in plain sight. Something like maybe it's a bird that flies by, or, maybe you see an emblem on someone's vehicle that, you automatically think of that person. Trust that. Trust those signs. And just trust that that's them sending you a message and letting you know they love you and that they're with you from heaven. So, well, my beautiful people, I'm going to end it here today. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I hope, your life is filled with so much love, blessings, all the hopes and dreams, you can ever imagine or want and desire for yourself. I wish you all much healing for those who are going through a tough time or have, anything medically going wrong or going on. I mean, I hope, your heart, if you're going through a heartbreak of some kind or grieving, I wish you healing energy to help heal your heart. And I wish y'all just nothing but the best this life has to offer. So, until next time, be good.